What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 winner of the Innovation Award given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association, and now monthly live broadcasts, video-wise, with fathers or forefathers that are co-sponsored by Dad Central Canada's National Fatherhood Organization and Dove Men Care. And as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. This is, I guess, on the Dr. Vibe Epic Conversations, a new friend, but I've known this lady for a long time. And it was nothing just happens until it's right time, because I know a while back we wanted to get this wonderful lady on and it didn't happen. But then she's going to be part of an event that I'm going to be part of that we'll talk a little bit later. I said, okay, let's get her on. So we have Dany Redwine finally. That old song, finally, this happened
to me right in front of me. That was the cut back in the day. Everybody sang that. That reminds me of going to the roller skating rink.
You know,
we used to roller skate with the four wheels. We have four wheels on the skates.
Yes. Oh, you know, Dany, you got to do some sort of routine talk about some roller skating songs. Like, bring your. I think there's a piece there. Like, definitely the roller skating jams. Oh yeah. All right, but she is a native of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and she started her career while she was fighting breast cancer in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And she has no show is off limits for her. She performs and shares with all types of crowds. She's open for names such as AJ Johnson, Scruncho, Pierre, and Cookie Hall. She is the host of Make It Spicy Comedy Club at Mulligan's in Grand Rapids, and recently hosted Laugh Fest, an all women's lineup. And she's going to be also appearing. She's going to be the headliner at something I'm co-hosting online. The Laugh Along Weekend Comedy Show on Friday, May 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to find out more information about that event, especially getting tickets, go to Eventbrite and put in Laugh and then Along, and you'll get the information. Or you can go to my website, click on the post that we did for Dany's appearance on the Dr. Vibe Show. There's an image there. Click on it, and you're good to go. Now, I've done too much talking. So, Ms. Dany.
Yes.
Let's get a little bit about your journey, because your bio is short, but your journey is long.
Mm-hmm.
Native of Grand Rapids.
Yes.
What was early life for Dany in Grand Rapids? What was that like?
Oh man, you know, I grew up with I had a couple of younger brothers up under me, and my mom was a single mom, and my childhood was pretty rough because I was the oldest, you know, so I was the trial run, and I had younger brothers, you know, and on being the only girl, and I had a lot of problems growing up because my father was absent. So, you know, I was trying to figure out who I was. I was lashing out, being mean to my mom, and, you know, all the stuff that horrible teenagers do. And it was rough. I would not relive those days just because I feel like I was so lost at a young age. You know, I didn't really have a whole bunch of direction. I didn't have anybody that was, you know, being more like a mentor or someone that was giving me some hope or some dreams or aspirations of a future. You know, I was just kind of living it day by day, you know, getting through the next day. If I could hang out with my friends on the weekend, that was a plus, you know, but I was healthy. My mom always provided a home for us, and, you know, my brothers were pretty popular and I was pretty popular. So you could say we had a pretty normal life. I don't think I faced any more difficult challenges than other people have, you know. You know, I just had my journey. But I got out of the house early. You know, I was eager to be an adult. like most young people, you know, I was eager to be an adult. I became a young mother. And then I started my own business right out of high school, braiding hair. As you can see, these are mine. I braided my own hair.
And this
Um,
is mine too, by the way.
yeah, it's nice. I was gonna see if you wanted
Thank
some
you.
cornrows, but you know,
Could you ever see me with cornrows?
no, I could not, Dr.
Thank you.
Vibe. I could
Oh,
not.
thank you.
I could
Okay,
not.
good. All
Yeah,
right.
but you know, I grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I went to school with Floyd for a little while, but you know, he was bred to fight, so they pulled him out.
Wow.
I think they pulled him out of Ottawa when he was a sophomore, I want to say. I don't even think Floyd was an upperclassman yet, and they pulled him out.
Wow.
So yeah, yep. My mom went
Wow.
to school with the DeBarges. I mean, my
What?
stepfather went to school with Al Green. Like, you know, this is a town of a lot of talent.
Well, it's no surprise with your lineage that you're a performer.
You know what? What's funny is I never thought that I would be doing what I'm doing right now. It's the fear of surviving cancer. Okay. When I got diagnosed with cancer, I felt like I had like a time limit. Like, oh shoot, now I gotta put my list together and get my little bucket list together, start chopping down at the things I want to do. And at the time I
Yeah.
was going through reconstruction. So I had a skin expander in my chest. So I was limited. I wanted to jump out a plane. I can't jump out no plane. I wanted to I wanted to go on a cruise. I couldn't go on a cruise. I was fighting cancer. So the only thing that was attainable on my list was stand-up comedy, and that's what I did.
I, wow. Like I said, book someday, please and thank you.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I'd even actually I'd go past that. I'd love to see a mini series.
Hey, I got enough info for a mini series. You know,
You
it
think?
wasn't always sweet. You know what I'm saying? Like I done hit some rough patches,
Wow.
but I tell you what, I came out of them, and I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be here. So,
Nice. Nice. Well, I just want to, before we go any further, but she is funny, is like banging comments out on the Get Vocal platform saying family going to school with El DeBarge and El Green and the like.
uh-huh.
And then also our Luke, great supporter from Windsor, Ontario. And also on the Facebook end, Melvin Lars. Thank you so much. He's asking me, will I be sharing jokes as well? No. I am a joke. I don't share jokes. Let's put it that way, you know?
You are not Dr. Vibe.
Yeah, I'm just having some fun. Dany, uh, your childhood sounds like it was challenging at
Very
times.
challenging because I was a girl that needed her dad. You know, I actually
Mm,
I was me and my mom, we just had kind of a button heads relationship. You know, I'm kind of a free spirit. My mom is kind of by the book. So I wanted to do everything she didn't want me to do. So it was just kind of like we clashed a lot. And although we're close and we love each other, it was just that difference of personality conflict that made it hard for me and her to bond when I really really needed to bond. And with my dad was a musician. And
okay.
he, when I was just a young girl, him and my mom were having problems, and they were young and married. And he left and moved to LA to make it. He was a bass player in a band. My dad played the bass. He played
Love my
funk.
favorite instrument. My favorite
I'm the
instrument.
I'm the daughter of a bass player. So
Mm,
he went to LA with his boys. They were trying to make it, and they were doing really, really well. And my father ended up perishing in a motorcycle accident.
oh,
I
my
was
condolences.
12, 13 around that time. So very not a good time to lose a parent. Um, I was already
Uh,
impressionable and trying to figure out myself. My body was weird. I was going from girl to young lady. You know what I mean? Like
yep,
it was just one of those times where, losing a parent that you longed for was just not a good addition to everything else that was going on.
how and as comfortable as you want to share with
Hmm.
us, how did you at that young of age, like two major challenges, your father leaving
Hmm.
and then your father passing
Hmm.
away?
My only memory of my father is in a casket.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I was too young to remember him. And when he moved to LA, my mom had remarried and had brothers. Like, she moved on with her life. So I grew up and listen to this. This is something else that dynamic that will go in my book. I was born Danielle Lynn Redwine. Redwine is my real birth name. Well, when my
Yeah.
mother and father split, she remarried and gave me the name of the man that she married. So I always
Right.
grew up and identified myself as Danielle Eccles, from the
Right.
time that I started school up until the time that my father passed.
Right.
Because when he passed away, legal reasons, the only way I could be his beneficiary was if I was Danielle Redwine, because I was his daughter. Um,
Right.
so so I had to make a decision going into high school to no longer be Danielle Eccles and to be Danielle Redwine. So not only do I have the rigmarole of not being close to my mom, having issues at home, have two little brothers, and my father passed away. Now, who in the hell? Who am I? Who is Danielle Redwine?
You have no
You know
identity.
what I'm saying?
So who changing your name back to
Mhm.
Redwine? Obviously, you couldn't do that because you were too young. Your mother allowed that, and was that a smooth conversation for you to
It wasn't
have?
a conversation at all. I was talking to the lawyer. Well, my mom was talking to the lawyers, and basically the lawyer was telling her, and this is all that I understood at that young age, was that my name needed to be changed in order for her to get any support from his death.
Right.
So the lawyer was like, there's no way around it. There was no legal adoption. You can't just change her name. Her birth certificate says Danielle Redwine. Her father's name is on the birth certificate. In order for you to even get any social security, any type of benefits for her, she has to be Danielle Redwine. So I signed up into school as Danielle Redwine. It wasn't even a conversation my mom had with me. It was just more or less like she just told me, you have to carry your father's last name.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did this is
Yeah.
big.
She's no
This is
longer married to
really,
that man either.
oh my
Right.
goodness. When going through school and all that, was there any moment that was really serious saying that, you know what, mom, I'm done?
I did not know how to communicate with my mother because my mother is very she is very intimidating. Um
Okay.
I I was afraid of my mom. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
I feared
All
my
right.
mom like I
Understood.
feared the Lord, you know? So I was not comfortable talking to her about anything because my mom was a young mother and she didn't know how to effectively communicate with me. Um, and she took offense to she was on the defense about everything that came
Right.
up. So no, I there was never
So,
a
so
time
how,
that
let me interrupt, Danny.
uh-huh.
Her always being on the defense, how did that affect you?
It affected me because I became that way. And I noticed it because it was something that I did not like. I felt like it was it gave off a sense of being confrontational. Um and that's not how I wanted to be. I just didn't want to rub people the wrong way and come off like, like not approachable. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be approachable. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be, so and I felt like I was getting defensive because that's all I knew. That's all I saw. And I didn't really learn that until I started going to counseling and hashing it out and unpacking things that, I realized that certain behaviors were taught to me. It wasn't of me. It was just something, I was a product of my environment.
Do you mind if we take some questions already? Because there's some people that have some questions for you
Okay.
already.
Yeah, we can take
Are you
questions.
comfortable? Okay, so on the Facebook Live platform,
Hmm.
just want to first of all, Melvin Lars says condolences about your loss, and
Thank
then
you.
John Hames III, who I have not heard from in a long time, has a really good question. What advice would you give mothers and daughters who aren't bonding, who just seem to be different? Great question.
I wish that I would have had some type of counseling with my mom. I think that it is good to have a mediator because regardless of mother and daughters not being able to see eye to eye, there's love there. I never stopped loving my mom. Yeah, I had some resentments and I had some issues with some of the things that after I became an adult, I knew was not right, but I didn't want to, I didn't want to carry that throughout my whole life. Um, so I feel like mothers and daughters need to reach out to other people. There are things that are available to mothers and daughters. Do stuff together. Sometimes you got to get out in public and talk things out where you're not going to get loud. You know what I mean? Like, but if you can't do it together without it being a fight or a confrontation, then you need a mediator. There should be somebody there helping guide both of you so that you can effectively communicate. Because everybody has feelings, everybody has stuff that they hold on to. Well, you're not going to know what that is until you get it out. And I'm not a believer of pushing anything under the rug. The only way things can be fixed is to be brought to the surface. So that would be my advice. Mothers and daughters need to love each other enough to fix their relationship.
You know, Danny, it's very interesting because I know a number of years ago there was a group of ladies that I became very good friends with online, and asked them, why don't you come on and just have a ladies chat? And I asked them, what do they want to talk about? And they said they wanted to talk about two things: ladies' relations with each other
Mm-hmm.
and mother daughter
Mm-hmm.
relationships. And the mother daughter relationship opened my eyes because I had this thought process that most mother and daughters are
Yeah.
okay. Oh
Me and
no.
my daughter, me and
Oh
my
no.
daughter are thick as thieves. And my daughter is nothing like me. My daughter is nothing like me. And we love each other. I drive that girl crazy.
Mm. And but she is funny as saying, yes, I think I heard that saying, nothing can be changed until it is faced.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It can what's the saying? What is it? Loose lips sink ships.
Thank you.
So it's kind of that same concept. Like you have to, it has to come out. You have to get it out. It might make it bad for a minute, because receiving that, information that you don't want to hear is not easy either. But it
Wow.
needs to be said.
Some good questions still coming here for you,
Okay.
Danny. John
Bring
has
them.
another.
Come
He
on.
has another
Let's go.
follow-up
Let's
question.
get the juices
Yeah,
flowing.
yeah. He's saying he asked you, how do you learn to love yourself?
Ooh, that's a good one. I learned to love myself, I think, really honestly, to be totally honest, the day I was diagnosed with cancer. And the reason why I say that is because I felt it was a fear that came over me that my time was limited. Um, I've always questioned who I was and carried a lot of my childhood stuff with me. It wasn't until I was diagnosed with cancer and I was forced to go and talk to somebody that I was able to connect with a lot of things that I was holding on to. Um, I loved myself enough to leave a 16-year marriage relationship because I was devalued in that relationship. And I felt bad throughout half of that marriage, feeling like I was not a good person. I wasn't doing this right. I wasn't doing that right. And when I got sick, I slumped into a deep depression. And there were days where I didn't get out of bed. I'm so thankful I had neighbors that lived right next door to me when I was separated from my husband. I was going through my cancer surgeries. I had like 2 weeks. I had just moved into a studio apartment and I didn't even have a bed to sleep in yet. I was sleeping on a pallet and my bed came 2 days before my surgery. And
Wow.
I was down in the dumps because that's all I had. And I was at home recovering, and they gave me a Xanax, and they gave me some pain relievers. And I don't do well with narcotics because they make me lethargic, like they knock me out. And the Xanax, literally, I slept for 2 days in a row.
What?
My neighbor came to my house and knocked on the window that was right next to my bed for a half hour before I even woke up. So I'm thankful for my neighbors because I don't know what was going on that day. I don't know if I had overdosed, had took too much, just so slumped in darkness that I just was out of touch with the world outside of my little studio apartment, but I was not well. And it wasn't until maybe a month or so after that that I went to counseling and I met my counselor, Karen. And when I started talking with her and unleashing, I put so much on that woman. I felt like I really needed to I was like, I'm gonna send you Christmas gifts. When is your birthday? I'm gonna send you some birthday gifts because I feel like I am putting so much on you. Like I felt like I kept that woman up at night. But I really needed to unleash a lot of that because it was just a whole bunch of mess that I was carrying. And it wasn't until I released all of that that I had to look at myself and be grateful for where I was. And being a survivor is something different. It is when you are faced with something and you have to go and have surgeries. I'm still going through surgeries. I'm 7 years cancer free and I'm still going through reconstructive surgery. My next one is August 20th of this summer. So
Well, wow, like we could stop right here. Like I'm telling you, but we're going to continue because I love victory. And to me, the two words that are resonating in my mind right now that you're overcomer and you're victorious.
thank you. Thank
And
you.
just want to
I
shout
feel
out.
victorious because
Yeah,
I'm telling you, 10 years ago, Dr. Vibe, I was not this person. I was
just hold
not.
that
I was,
thought. Just hold that thought just for a second. Just want to say shout out to Natasha Holiday, Lady Day, who's going to be part of the last
yes.
one.
Shout
Yeah,
out, girls.
yeah, and
We're
but
going to have
she is
fun.
funny. Oh gosh, I
I'm
feel
going to cut up
I
too. Woo!
I
I,
cannot
I
wait
hope
now
y'all
for
ready.
this. I cannot wait. This is just like, but she is funny saying,
Been waiting to cut up.
but
I'm saving
she,
it all for y'all. How much
oh
time I get? Look.
yeah, you just mentioned you were not in a good place 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
What place were you in physically, mentally, emotionally 10 years ago?
I was so unhappy. I was so unhappy. I felt like a woman that did not have a purpose. I felt like I felt like I was in a position of stuck, if anyone can relate to that. Um, I didn't have my ex was not supportive in my ideas and the things that I wanted to do. About 15 years ago, with me doing natural hair, I wanted to reach out to adoption agencies that allowed people to adopt children from Africa and do seminars to teach them how to do basics hair care skills for
Yeah.
the children from Africa that they brought over here and didn't know how to do their hair. So I started writing it's almost like a basic basic braids or natural hair 101 type of a guide that I wanted to create. And he thought that it was a waste of time. Um, if I ever spent time doing that, he thought I could spend that time better by organizing a closet or getting some laundry done or just something that attributed to me being a wife. Nothing that
Mhm.
any self-expression stuff or things that shown who I was as a person or my personality, everything got shut down. Um, Even so, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I developed a seatbelt attachment called the Cushy. Cushy has a Facebook page, but I created the Cushy, which is a seatbelt attachment for women that go through reconstructive surgery and need a pillow for their chest. It actually straps onto your seatbelt and it comforts your chest at the same time. It kind of keeps it's right. It lays right in between your boobs so that your boobs don't move when you're driving, going over bumps, turning corners, and that sort of thing. And I was invested in by the DeVosses, Betty DeVoss's brother.
Excuse me?
Betty DeVos's brother,
Okay.
or Betty DeVos's nephew, gave me seed money to start my business.
Okay, just hold
And
a moment. So people, if you don't know the DeVos family, I know a little about the DeVos family. That one of the DeVosses is the Secretary of Education
mhm,
for the United States. If you don't know that, if you've ever heard of a company called Amway,
mhm.
that family owns Amway.
They're in Grand Rapids. That's a Grand
They,
Rapids family.
yes, it's a grand route, and Amway or their online affiliate Quickstar. That
Mhm.
is all. They are they're billionaires.
Billionaires.
They are billionaires. So just want to
Billionaires.
come back onto the lane now so that name
Mhm.
DeVos will resonate with you. Continue. Sorry for the interruption.
That's my seminars, my t-shirts, my getting my stuff together. He was very discouraging. So 10 years ago, I was in a place where, what am I about to do? I'm stuck in this unhappy marriage. He won't work with me. He won't go to counseling. Fun. Like, I'm not talking about going on a cruise with my girlfriends or going to the club and dropping it like it's hot. I'm talking about something that is expressive of me, something that is a part of me, something I either developed or did, or I just felt the need to want to contribute to the world. You know what I mean? And I was
Okay.
just felt stuck. I felt like I was with a partner that didn't support any of my ideas. And I was just going to be stuck in this rut. That's how I felt 10 years ago.
Well,
Yeah.
Luke is saying sounds like perfect X material, and then is, is she funny? Saying nothing wrong with dropping it like it's hot. Just saying.
Well, I
I,
can't actually. I mean, I'm not a dancer. I tell jokes.
John Haynes has another question,
Okay.
and I don't know. Okay, you know what? Well, I'll ask it now because he may be gone. I don't know if he's still on. So he's saying, when I hear stories like this, I get so spiritually excited, and I always ask, why do you think God saved your life?
God saved my life because he's always been in it.
Boom.
He's always been in it. I have never lost faith. I have never swerved, never ducked, dodged, or nothing from my father. He's never left me throughout all the stuff that I've been through. And even on my days where I felt lonely, I knew there was a presence there, that would not allow me to do anything to hurt myself or do something stupid. Um, he's just in me. I did not. I never felt like he was not there. He's always been there.
Nice, nice, fantastic. Well, when did things start to turn?
You mean turn like in for the comedy? Like I have several turns. So
Well, okay, so you were taught
what
10
part in
years
the
ago.
timeline?
Okay, so 10 years ago you were not happy, da da da,
Was not
this that.
happy.
So when did the turn start to happen from that
There wasn't a
time?
turn. I was stuck in a
No.
rut. There was not a turn. The 10 years ago, I'm cancer free 7 years. So I was in that rut for 3 years before I was diagnosed with cancer, and something, a flame went off in me.
How did you handle the and I know Danny's a comedian, but I think this is very important who's watching this live or listening to this live on the relay. Every person has a story.
Oh, yeah, they do.
So I'm speaking it that I that at least I know people already are impacted by it,
Hmm.
and I hope that more people get impacted because I'm being impacted by this big time because
Thank
already
you.
my heart is full.
Thank you.
My heart is full, and we haven't talked about the comedy yet, and my heart is full.
Aw, thank you. That makes me feel good.
So, yeah. So then let me put it this way: when did comedy start becoming part of your journey?
Well, that, like I said, that was a check off my bucket list. And there was a comedy. I've always loved comedy. I've always loved stand up comedy. Stand up comedy has always been something in my family's life. And I created my bucket list, and I went up to an open mic and I got 5 minutes. And I basically talked about breast cancer. I talked about my journey and I made light of some of the things that I was going through, like being able to put on a bra. Like, just certain things that I don't even remember my original set, but I know it was all geared around. I remember this one joke. There's one joke that I told I remember, and that was, what do you
Okay.
call a pair of lopsided boobs? High lows.
Jeez.
So that was one of my jokes. But I had like I had a good, strong 3 minute, 4 minute set. And I did well that night.
Oh,
And
okay.
surprisingly, when I came off the stage, I had two comedians that had open mics that wanted me to come to their room and perform. So I've
What?
just I've been hooked ever since. It's like that first time it was such a rush and I felt so supported, that it was just something that I was like, this is about to be a part of my life now.
Hmm. John Haynes has something to say, but not a question this time. He says, "Wow and amen. People like Dany are true angels on earth. Her life just could have expired with father dying early and mother not relating to her. She was just cared for. Tremendous blessing."
Absolutely. Thank you. I received that. That feels good. Y'all making me feel good. I'm about to make me a
Well,
cup
you're
of
worthy.
tea. Have me
you're,
some
you're
cookies.
worthy. You're worthy.
Thank
So,
you.
what do you have any memories of that first performance?
Oh, I do. It's so heartwarming because I went through my journey. I was very transparent on Facebook about what I was going through, and I wanted to raise awareness because Black women, we're the ones that die from breast cancer. A lot of times we develop the stronger strains of breast cancer, and it's caught too late. Luckily, I was blessed enough to catch mine early that I was able to just have treatment with having a mastectomy and doing oral chemo, oral medication chemo for 5 years, and I'm good, and I've still been good. But there are a lot of people that don't have the same blessing. A lot of people have to go through chemo, and it spreads somewhere else, and they have to go and get experimental drugs, and so I feel very blessed that my situation was the way that it was. Um, and I just encourage Black women to have your mammograms and get checked, and even men too. I mean, if you have breast, you can get breast cancer. And I think that was kind of part of my whole thing, was to be, not only um, in front of Facebook, but to be an advocate. So when I was on Facebook, I was letting people know what was going on with me, and I had mentioned that I was going to do my first stand up. And when I
Mhm.
got there and I got up on stage, because they have the comedians kind of separate from the stage so that you can just come right up on the stage. You don't really know who's in the audience until you get up on stage. And when I got up on
Right.
stage, it was two tablesfuls of my high school friends that I hadn't
You're
that I
kidding.
hadn't seen. Some of them I hadn't seen since high
No.
school. Yes. Yes.
No.
And they were cheering and laughing and was standing up and clapping. Like it was just such a rush of like love on stage my first time, that I think that's what made it a good experience too, was that I was supported. I had people there that loved me and was happy to see me overcome what they had been watching on Facebook.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah.
Um, I always am humbled with the people that support what comes through me. It's not about me.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm loving also is the support, especially on the Facebook side. There are Black men are just saying wonderful things about me. Galen Bingham, great leadership, thought leader. Goldman EI coach,
Mm-hmm.
did something fantastic today on Zoom. Man, there must have been about 70 or 80 people there at one live listening to him all around the world. And he's saying, "How do you keep finding amazing people to interview?" I said, "No, I, we just, we're the right hearts.
Yeah.
Right hearts find right people."
Uh-huh. That's right. Like attracts like. So it's
Yes,
just one of those
yes,
things that I think
absolutely.
good people, just attract other good people.
You did your first routine. You had two people wanting you to continue onward.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And how long have you been doing the comedy now?
It's been 6 years since last month. So I just celebrated my 6 years in the beginning of April.
How were the early days?
Oh, the early parts of comedy was learning. And I'm still learning. Like I feel like even though I'm 6 years in, there's still something that I can take from a comedian that's been doing it longer than me. You know,
Right.
I'm open to learn things. I'm open to suggestions. So I'm kind of like a sponge still. I mean, I know etiquette. I know timing. I'm a host now, so you know I know how to get a crowd back. There are a lot of things that I have achieved. When I first started, it was rough just because I'm a Black woman in Grand Rapids, Michigan. There are only there's only
Talk about performing in Grand Rapids,
yeah.
Michigan, being a Black female comedian.
Grand Rapids, Michigan is predominantly it's the Dutch Christian Reform town. There's a church on every corner. There is always something going on in regards to Christian communities coming together and doing functions and having parades. Like there's always something going on here. And I first started doing comedy in like mainstream rooms, so predominantly white crowds. And with me being at that time, I was one of the only Black female comedians that was consistent. Like you would get some that come from out of town and they would do open mics, but there was never a name of a Black female in Grand Rapids doing comedy that was buzzing around the city. Now there's a few of us, and the other girls that have come behind me are just they're hilarious, and I love them. They're my girls, but it's three of us now. But when I started out, it was just me. So I was doing mainstream rooms, and to gauge, and I'm friends with everybody, so I'm able to relate to different cultures and different people. So it was tough at first because I felt like the comedy that I was doing wasn't really relatable. And I didn't want to always talk about white and Black, you know, because that's like the common
Right.
thing. So I had to jump into really focusing on my set, making my set funny and relatable to everybody based on my own life. And I did that because I don't ever want to come off being offensive. And I have quite a bit of funny stuff that happens in my own life. like my own life creates a lot of material. So I really feel like I didn't want to be one of those comedians that, you know, predominantly talked about, you know, race jokes and, you know, talked about people having, you know, disabilities or, you know, making light of things that really are kind of low key mean. I really just wanted to talk about things that people can relate to from my own life, having children, being divorced, you know, dating now. You're new and you're dating. Mind you, I'm dating now and I'm a cougar. So it's a whole different ball game now. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you. And then I'm a cougar with a young face. So I'm getting hollered at by 20-year-olds. So, you know, they don't have nothing to offer me. Half of them ain't got a car. So, you know, it's like I have my own drama in my own personal life that I think.
Danny, if you're ever thinking about leaving Grand Rapids, we'll take you here in Toronto. We need you in Toronto.
I know LA is trying to get me in Toronto.
What?
Yeah, she was talking to me about it the other day on Get Vocal.
Yes, we got it. We got to get you up here. Let's refer, like, how are you able to get consistent work in the early days? Like, how did you?
A lot of it is just your name. People talk, and in comedy, your name circulates quick. So I think I probably was about a good year in, and people started reaching out to me and saying, hey, can you do 10 minutes here? Can you do 20 minutes there? Can you do this? So I started getting more frequent shows. And at that time I wasn't headlining, but I was just happy to be on the show. So I literally probably maybe a year after doing open mics, I started getting paid. I mean, it was only $20 here, $50 there, but you know, I felt like, okay, at least I'm coming in and get my little $50 for my little 10 minutes. You know, get me a couple of drinks. I'm winning, you know?
I got to get back to Facebook because the black men are popular hitting it on Facebook tonight. Then they got questions like crazy for you,
Okay.
Danny. This is good.
Okay.
First things first. Melvin Lars is saying my mom had a double mastectomy
Oh,
10
bless
years
her
ago.
heart.
She she is 86 years
Oh,
old now. You are a truly amazing
thank
inspiration.
you.
I am a 30. And he himself, Melvin, is a 30-year acute promelectic cancer
I'm
survivor.
elected. Oh, wow. I don't think I've ever heard of
Yep,
that.
neither have
Wow, that
I.
must be a rare
But
it must be
definitely,
a rare cancer then, because that's not something you hear about. Well, God bless you
well,
and your
so
grandmother, 88 years young. I hope I can see the day, you know?
yes,
That's
there
a
you go.
blessing in itself.
86, and then Galen Bingham and Melvin Lars have questions. So
Okay.
Galen's first. His question is, can you still enjoy watching a good comedy act, or is every comedy act a learning module?
Um,
Good question.
that is a very good question. I do watch stand up. I tried this. I try not to watch other stand up before I go on. But I do
Okay.
watch other stand up outside out in my home. So I watch like the Netflix specials and that sort of thing. And I am a people watcher. I don't know if you know the type of person that is, but I can get me a smoothie and sit in the mall in one of them recliners and just watch people because because I'm nosy. I'm real nosy. And I love watching the body language. I love watching stage presence. So I when I'm watching a special, I try to focus in on the jokes, but I'm also trying to focus in on how they move, how they pick up the microphone, where are they going next? Like it's like it's almost like a swag, I guess. You know what I mean? Like a stage swag. So I like to watch other
Mhm.
comedians just to see how their vibe and their energy is. And what I usually take from it is sometimes what not to do. I've seen comics go from one extreme to the next. Learn that that's not real good. You know, so I pick up on things, as I watch other comedians, usually more so here in my city, other local comedians. And now I'm kind of getting to the point to where people that came behind me, they'll come and ask me questions like, where do I put the microphone after do I stand it? Do I keep the stand right here? So it's just, yeah,
Mm,
it's always a learning lesson, and I'm here for
okay.
it. So
So Melvin Lars has corrected my pronunciation of the cancer. He's a survivor of it's promyelocritic cancer.
critic.
Promyelocritic.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, and I've also shared out the link for the online comedy show that you're going to be headlining.
Okay.
And I have a feeling that one or two people from the Facebook Live site are going to book themselves
Yay.
for that. And man, there's so many comments here that I can't keep up right now. But here's another question.
Yay. I
No,
love
because
y'all too. Keep coming. Ask
it's okay.
questions.
So Galen, can you type the last question on Facebook again? Because it just disappeared on me. And in the meantime, Melvin has another question. He has, in your opinion, why do most comedians seem to feel that they have to use the N word in their routines?
Um, I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes it's nerves. Sometimes it's
Hmm.
being nervous. Um, have you ever been have you ever known a person that when you're confronting them, they have like a smirk or a smile in their face? And
Yep.
it's not because they are smiling at you, it's nerves. It's almost like they don't know how to respond to it. So I've noticed that a lot of people that use the N word use it out of desperation. They're not getting a response from the crowd. They're not getting what they want from them, so they feel like throwing around some cuss words or dropping the N word is going to liven them up a little bit. In some instances it works. In most instances it doesn't. um i I do all the comedy. I do clean, I do dirty, and I do a little bit of variation in between. It just depends on my audience. But I also like to read my audience. When I come I come in early. I'm there before. I'm not one of those comedians that I know I'm going last, so I come after the show started. No, I want to see who's up in there. I want to see what kind of people are in there so that I know what jokes are going to hit. But that just comes with time. You know, you don't know right away. So a lot of times you bomb just doing your regular set, and that crowd might not be feeling that set. So I think the comedians drop the N word and cuss a lot out of nerves and out of trying to get a response or get some laughs. There's really no other way around that.
Okay. Luke is saying if I ever try stand up, I'll sure not to use that word.
Yes, and it's frowned upon. And you won't get any work from like I hosted for Laugh Fest. Laugh Fest is huge. And
how did that happen, by the way? And tell us a little bit about that experience.
That was like the best experience ever. If you don't know about Laugh Fest is one of the biggest comedy festivals in the United States. It happens once a year.
How did that happen for you?
It happened for me. Laugh Fest is actually it was discovered, well, not discovered, but it was developed by Black women, Gilda's Club. Black women that are breast cancer survivors and fighters. They started Laugh Fest. Laugh Fest started from breast cancer survivors. And it started with the idea that laughter is medicine for us. And they pitched it and it became a thing. So now 3 or 4 weeks out of the year, they host this festival. And I had been trying to get into it and trying to do whatever, but my name was buzzing, but I still wasn't like embraced by some of the big wigs in our city. Dr. Grins is like the big deal in Grand Rapids. And although I know and have a lot of respect from the other comedians, they couldn't move anything. It's not until the big people hear about you that, you know, things are presented to you. So I got a phone call at work. This is a little over a month ago, before COVID, of course. I got a phone call at 4:30 at work saying that my girlfriend was sick, who was another comedian. She was unable to host the all females lineup at the Laugh Fest, and they needed somebody that was going to represent well, and asked if I could get there in 2 hours. Wow. I told him yes, and I hadn't even left work yet. Okay. So I had to be there at 6:30. I left work at 5:30. I had just enough time to run home, change out of my scrubs, throw on a Laugh Fest t-shirt and some jeans and gym shoes, and go down there. And as soon as I walked in the door, I went into host mode. Like, I grabbed all the female comedians up. I told them their times. I told them their lineups. I told them where we were entering, where I was going to be lighting them at. And the Laugh Fest people were blown away because they had people there to do that. And I'm so used to I'm kind of anal when it comes to my lineup, because I do a room myself, that I just knew this was what I did, you know. So I took over, and I just found out that couple of the bigwigs were dropped my name in a Zoom like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and they were very impressed with my hosting skills. So I think you're gonna hear a lot more about Dany Redwine and Laugh Fest next year.
Dany,
I said, hopefully they bring somebody like Wanda Sykes or somebody.
Dany, you know what you need to do? What do you need to do? You need to touch base with them. Oh
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We already exchanged information and everything.
Yeah,
and I had two of the people that were organizing it are following me on Facebook now.
Okay, so Dany, I'm going to put a challenge to you.
Okay.
If you have their information, I want you to either reach out to them, either email or phone, within the next week.
Okay.
Because right now, because of everyone, and it's slowly but surely lifting the situation, the best time to get a hold of these people are right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because they're going to be starting to organize things for next year.
Well, they probably already are, because they're seeing the situation. It's not going to be like it was, but it's going to change.
Right.
So you want to get into their thought process while they
now.
Now.
Absolutely.
Just the
Oh,
thought. I'd be
I'm doing
disappointed if you don't. Well, because if they're talking about you, you want to have them keep
it.
on talking about you.
Right. And a little bird dropped in and told me that. So I was very appreciative because, when you do things, you don't know if people notice. If no one says anything, you just, you don't know. So
You know what?
I'm just glad that he said
I'm,
something because those are,
I'm loving it tonight. The Black men are representing on Facebook Live.
yay.
Danny Stone is
I'm
giving.
single. I'm single.
No. He's not. He's Danny's taking young lady, but he's representing. Great coach. Melvin Large is asking a question. Do you know his friend associate Marvin Sapp?
Yes. I don't know him personally, but I went to school with his brother. I went to school with
What?
Darnell Sapp. Yeah, I went to school with Darnell Sapp. And Marvin is a little older than me. They went to Ottawa. They went to my high school. Marvin is I think Marvin is maybe 6 years older than me. I did a show with his brother, Henry. Henry Sapp is a comedian. I did a show with him. And I went to high school with Darnell. So, yes.
Wow. Well, it's funny. Melvin Lars, people follow him on Get Vocal, does incredible interviews. He's my mentor. He
Okay.
says I'm his mentor, but I don't know about that. But one of the first times I met Melvin, and he said, I used to live in Saginaw, Michigan. I go,
Mm-hmm.
no,
Yeah.
no.
It's like an
And
hour from here.
and he sent me a picture of two famous sisters when they were really young. Do you know who the sisters are?
No.
Venus and Serena.
I knew you were going to say that. But you know what? When you said the sisters, I doubted myself, but I thought that because somebody has said that they were from Michigan, but I never heard specifically Saginaw.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, also want to also say shout out to, well, he was here for a bit. Colin Joe was here for a little bit, but going back, the Facebook is fire tonight. So now Galen I'm finally seeing something Galen has written. He's saying, I saw Dick Gregory do two shows. The first was serious political commentary. Everyone in the audience was taking notes. The following day was comedy. Everyone was rolling in the aisle. He told the exact same stories in the same order. All the changes was his timing. True genius.
Yes. Timing is everything. Timing is everything. It's like you have
Melvin,
to rear
go
you
ahead.
have to rear a man and be able to punch right at the right time, or else it can fall flat.
The audience is making me work tonight. I love it. But is she funny saying, I'd like to know how Dany handles cross-cultural humor. Like how does she do with non-American audiences, like Caribbean people, for example?
Oh, I did a show in the Bronx in New York, and I was terrified. Now, mind you, this room is Freddie Rick's room, and anybody that knows anything about comedy or knows any history about comedy, Freddie Ricks is one of the pioneers that started Def Comedy Jam. He was one of the headliners that used to be on Def Comedy Jam. So Freddie Ricks is well known, and I did his room, which was in the Bronx, and it was a room full of West Africans in there, and they were in there eating their Cajun fish and shrimp, and it was smelling good in there, and they was all packed having a good time, and I was scared to death. Okay. All of them thick accents talking. There was the pum and the doom and talk. I just was like, I am out of my element. But I got up there right after somebody had said something about the poom poom. So I got up there and I was like, I didn't know you guys was talking about the poom poom. And the audience lost it. And then as soon as they calmed down, I was like, I'm just kidding, y'all. I'm from Michigan. And they fell out laughing. And I did my set and I did well. So it's like it's like you just gotta kind of roll with the punches. There's times where I do a mixed room and there's Hispanics in the audience and yo habla español. So I'll say something to them in Spanish just so that I'm letting people know that I'm a brown sister, but I got some culture in me. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, you just have to adapt. It's like being a chameleon. You gotta adapt to your environment. When you get in there, you gotta kind of peep out what you're working with and just go from there.
Another comment from But Is She Funny? She loved when you said I'm single. She actually hollered it out loud and was rolling when you said, oh my goodness. Oh, Dany, when did you start realizing that comedy is a science?
When I started doing it,
Okay.
when I started doing it, because I always and I've always just been a fan. You know, I listened to the jokes, I laughed, you know, whatever. But it wasn't until I got up on the stage that I was like, man, I notice now that certain comedians have a cadence. Like there's a rise and a fall to their routine. Um, and it wasn't until I started picking up a couple of books about comedy that
Oh,
you know, I learned that there is a science to even writing a joke. It's almost like a formula. It's almost like a math formula to write a joke. And I believe that not everybody has mastered that formula. You know, clearly there are some people that have mastered it with no problems. The Dave Chappelle's, the Chris Rocks, the Seinfelds, the people that can just sit down and just write a something funny about a grapefruit.
right,
You know what I mean?
right,
You
right.
know, so and that's the goal of every comedian is to be able to master that science.
Hmm. Has there been any downside in being a comedian in your journey?
Yes. Being a Black female comedian, I used to hear about it, us being the last seen and the last recognized. I didn't give it too much thought because I was enjoying myself so much. But I have been bumped out of shows because the guys didn't want me there. I have been cut time because I outshine the person that was behind me. So, I mean, there's just a lot of little things that, you know, have been done to me that I've never noticed be done to my white co-host. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, um, there's a lot of backbiting. There's a lot of jealousy in this field. If you are the funny person, get ready to not be liked by certain people.
Mm,
Um, and a lot of that just has to do with competition. It's a very competitive sport.
wow.
Yeah.
Galen Bingham says something great here. Anyone can be funny by accident. The job is being funny on demand.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And that's what stand-up comedy is. You got to get up on that stage and make this whole room laugh. And if you
Mm,
don't, if you don't, you're gonna feel it. Coming off the stage after bombing is man, make you feel ill, make you feel like you gotta
mm,
throw up, you know,
yeah.
it's not a good feeling. I've had my share of bombing. I went to Detroit when I started going to Detroit. Oh, Detroit is a tough crowd. Okay. Man, I had to choke a laugh out of them. You know what I'm saying? Like literally. Like I feel like that was probably the hardest city for me to perform in. And I performed in New York, I performed in Louisiana, performed in Texas, I mean, I've had my share. I've been on the road, I'm doing comedy. I've had my share. And Detroit, Michigan is by far
Wow.
has been my toughest rooms. Yeah.
Well, but is she funny
They
saying
love
I'm
me
glad?
now though. I got them now.
What? You got him now?
I got them now. I do really well in Detroit now.
Congratulations. That
Thank
is
you.
an comments are flying here. But is she funny saying I'm glad she said that it's not easy out there for black women in comedy.
It's not.
Luke is saying I remember Leo Dufour's kid absolutely bombed, but he tried.
Mm-hmm.
Natasha is saying it is much easier to be funny with people who like you, aka friends and family. Strangers is where the science starts.
I tell you what, your friends and family, they can be harder on you than people that don't know you. My family I have two aunts that have been to my show, and I come from a huge family. Um, my mom has never seen me do stand up.
What?
No, no,
On purpose?
she's never come to any of my shows. Nope.
Then what does she think about you being a comedian?
At first I think she was mad because this is not something she wanted her daughter to do.
Okay.
Once I started getting popular and people were telling her that I was funny and that they wanted to come see me, I think that sparked her curiosity because other people were, coming out to see me. And
Mhm.
but I'm not worried about it. I mean, if she wants to see me, she can come see me. It's neither here nor there.
Uh, is there a part of you that wants to have that relationship with your mother at a good place?
Yes. That has always been there. And I think eventually we will get there. We're working on it now. Um
Good.
Healthy distance has been helpful. Just because I believe that some parents, and my mom is older, my mom is in her 60s. So in her time growing up, the parents pretty much mandated what the child was going to do. And I was a 90s baby. I came up in the hip hop era. I wasn't about to I wasn't about to be no court reporter. I didn't want to be a stenographer. I didn't want to do the things that she wanted me to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to party for a couple of years before I figured out what I wanted to do. I was a young mom. I was trying to go to the Freaknik. You know what I'm saying? I was not I was not trying to go to no school right then, but I love my mother dearly. She is a very beautiful woman. She's very creative, and she's taking care of us. She wasn't always able to be there for us when she wanted to, but I don't hold it against her. Now that I'm a mom, now I know that you can't make
Mhm.
everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it wasn't until I became a parent that I was able to empathize with some of the things that my mom wasn't able to do for me. So, and that's just part of, growing up, being an adult.
Galen Bingham is saying friends and family can be tough. Jesus could perform no miracles in his hometown.
Right? That's true. Yeah.
So on point. Wow. If if you had a ticket to see three comedians, what names would be on each one of those tickets?
Wanda Sykes.
Okay.
I love me some Wanda Sykes. Dave Chappelle, and let's see. There's so many. There's so many comedians that I love, but I'm just gonna name my my three. Um, Wanda Sykes, Dave Chappelle, and I'd have to say Tony Rock.
Fantastic. How does it feel to be considered a mentor now?
It feels good. I mean, I like to be of service. So, if I can help a comedian that looks up to me or thinks that what I'm doing is wonderful and she or he think they can learn something from me, I'm here for it.
Hmm.
I love it.
What is the vision going forward? What is the next mountain that you want to climb? Because you've climbed so many.
I have climbed so many, Dr. Vi. I really want to not be in Michigan. Um, I
What's holding you back?
have finances.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I just don't have it. I'm a woman that went through a divorce and lost everything through that divorce. And I am
Wow.
literally starting from scratch with everything. And now, mind you, over these 7 years, I have gone through 7 reconstructive surgeries. I have had times where I was down for 4 weeks at a time, 6 weeks at a time. I had to go through physical therapy because I didn't have full range of motion. So working and not working, working and not working. I
Yeah.
have moved 5 places in 3 years. So I've been displaced since my divorce. So I really would like to be in a place where um I'm getting my finances together. I mean, I have a decent job, but getting all that debt together, trying to get back on my feet has not been easy.
Understood.
And I'm not complaining about it. I'm happy and I'm healthy. However, it's not something that happens overnight. So, with that being said, it's taking me a lot longer than I would like,
Sure.
because, I'm kind of like, show me the money. If I can get a job where I'm making a lot more than what I'm doing now, I will do that job. But the only thing that really holds me back are finances. And,
Okay.
my kids are older. My kids are okay with their mom venturing out and doing something. So, I have the support there. It's just that sister ain't got it like that. You know what I'm saying? I can't jump on a plane and just go to LA and cop me a Airbnb for 3 months and grind out comedy. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it's just not feasible right now.
So a few things, but is she funny? The quote, Jesus could perform no miracles in his hometown. Uh, that was said by Galen Bingham on the Facebook Live side. Um, and she also says, I guess the healthcare system in the US also has some serious impact.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you a favor, Dany. I want you to close your eyes for a second,
Okay.
and I want you to dream where you want to be, and then open your eyes and tell me what it looks like
Mm-hmm.
and where you are.
It looks like a beach house.
Okay.
I want to look out the back doors and see the ocean. I am a beach. I'm a sun child. Um, I am a low-key nudist at heart. I don't really like a lot of clothes. I like
Okay.
feeling the sun on my skin. Um, I, I'm a dog lover. I want like 3 of them. So I could just see myself getting up with my dogs and running the beach.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is the next? We already talked about what's the next things that you're looking to be doing. Oh, actually, how has COVID-19 affected you? How can I
Oh,
not say talk about that?
yeah, I lost a few shows through COVID. One in particular that I'm just so devastated by. There's a Last Laugh festival for women only here in Grand Rapids, and they host it every year at this Dog Story Theater. And if on my I believe it's on my Facebook page, my timeline picture is me on stage with my name Dany Redwine in the back. That's the stage for that particular festival. And I do it every year, and it's such a good venue. Like, it's one of my bigger crowds. The stage is so dope. The way that the stage is set up, the lighting, how they put your name behind you is just, it's every comedian's stage. You know what I mean? Like, every comedian be like, "Ooh, I want to play that stage." So, with that, I lost that show. A couple of other shows, but they was kind of hood shows. So, you don't really get paid for them. So I mean, I wasn't worried too much about them. But I really didn't do too many virtual shows either. I've done like podcasts, interviews, and that sort of thing. And I do videos with my girl from Detroit. So we do like little snippets, little skits and things like that. But COVID has really kind of locked everything down. I mean, we had to shut down our open mic. We shut down our open mic the same week that before they announced the shutdown. We had shut down our room. So, and we were just doing that. We didn't have to, but we just did it because, we felt a need that everybody was starting to be a little bit proactive. We didn't want to, put anybody at risk. So, but yeah.
Uh, I just and I so much has been going on Get Vocal and on Facebook also. Another supporter of the Dr. Vibe Epic Conversations, Claude Diamond, had some stuff going on had some comments on YouTube. So I'm going to jump back there for a second. First of all, have you done like an online comedy show before?
I am not. So I'm looking forward to this one.
All right.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Because then he also said it's all about confidence.
it is. It is. And the audience can they pick up on that right away. If you are stumbling with your words, or you flip the joke, the audience is on it tough. So you have to get up there and be sharp and be yourself. You know, I always tell people the audience is going to know who you are when you get up on that stage. So if you are trying to be Eddie Murphy, Corey Holcomb, you know what I mean, or whoever it is that you're trying to emulate, if that's who you're trying to be, that's what they're going to see, and they're not going to respect it. People want to see your true self. People really love transparency, you know, and I think people really love to see people get up there with no care in the world and be unapologetic about who they are and just do their set. So when I get up there, I mean, I talk about a lot of stuff in regards to my personal life. So I feel it. I show it. Physically, you see it. I'm walking around the stage. I might make a movement or do something with the microphone. So I'm myself when I get up there. And it took me a minute to get there. But I say in the last couple of years, your girl been killing it out here.
Nice. Nice. Well, on that, we could spend hours on there, but I know you need some rest. And you've been out of bounds. Like
Oh, good.
really, really, really out of bounds.
Fun.
It has
Thanks
been
for
it
having
has
me.
been well worth the wait having you.
Thank you. This has been fun. I
It's
really
been great.
appreciate it.
Do you have any final words you'd like to share and how people can get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me on Facebook. I am Dany Dany Redwine on Facebook. And I just cleared out a whole bunch of junk. You know, you can accumulate a lot of friends on Facebook and not even know it. And I had to, I got some spots open for y'all now. I'm trying to get some new people on my Facebook. And I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is Dany_Redwine. That's DANY_REDWINE. And I think those are really the only two that I frequent.
Okay.
And other than that, I'm not too hard to catch up with.
Well, also, Dany will be one of the comedians during the Laugh Along weekend comedy show on Friday, May 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be co-hosting the event. I wish May 15th was tomorrow. I'm just ready. I'm just ready, and like to say thank you especially to But Is She Funny to have me part of this because
Yeah,
I'm
thank
absolutely
you.
enjoyed meeting some absolutely wonderful people. And she reached out to me saying, "Do you know any?" And I go, "Dany Redwine."
Yay! So glad you thought of me.
Oh, well, you're absolutely and the link for the comedy show is in the get vote of the post with the replay of this epic conversation on my website. But
I didn't have my
oh,
comments up. I just got my comments up, and I saw Luke was giving his sister some luck on finding a boo. That's real life.
oh man, I thought I could go without just going under, and you did it at the end. That's wrong. You know that, Dany. That's just wrong. Oh my goodness. But if she is funny as saying, we are going to have a blast. We're already having a
Yes,
blast.
we
We
are
are
gonna
going to.
have a blast.
We're already having a blast.
Gonna
Well,
have
look,
a blast.
I like to say, everyone, please go click on the link, be part of this epic event that's going to happen on May 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You won't probably be able to go anywhere. So why don't you just hang out near your computer monitor and just get some good laughs,
Mm-hmm.
lighten your load, lighten your
Absolutely.
load.
Absolutely.
I'd like to say thank you to Luke, who's right from the beginning was here.
Mm-hmm.
Natasha Lady Day, right from the beginning. But Is She Funny, who's actually the brains behind the comedy show. They've been here right from the beginning. Wonderful. Also on the Facebook Live end, the brothers were strong tonight.
Hey.
I'm telling you. Galen Bingham, Melvin Lars, Mr. Haynes III, and anyone else who watched this epic conversation live. If I forgot you, it's because of my head, not my heart. But certainly catch the replay. And I think one day you're going to see this lady on TV sharing some of her story.
I know I've been blowing up Ellen and Oprah, but they ain't paying no attention to me right now. So, man, I'm like, what I got to do? You better be glad I don't know their address.
Well, you know something? I think you should pitch them.
I have. You know, I've been writing Ellen. I tried to get sneaky with it too. when I was doing the cushy, I was sending
Yep.
hot pink letters only, so they would stick out. You know what I'm saying? I made sure they was fuchsia pink, and I sent a letter a week for like a year straight.
Okay, hold on a second. Did you ever follow up?
Every week I was writing a letter for a year.
No, 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 no. Phone call.
They don't you can't. I tried that. I tried every
Okay.
avenue. I did emails. I did trying to jump on when they was on. Like, man, I jumped.
Well, it's funny. Luke just put Fallon. He's quote entry level. LOL. Luke, you better go get a ticket. I'm gonna be disappointed if you don't come out because it looks like you're having a good time here tonight, and this is just appetizer for the main course on the 15th.
Oh
So,
yeah.
just make it happen. I am Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association, co-host of monthly online live fatherhood conversations sponsored by Dad Central Canada's National Fatherhood Organization and Dove Men Care. I have had a blast.
Me
If
too.
you want to catch up more epic conversations, go to my website, the DRVIBESHOW, where you can catch all this kind of madness and some serious stuff too. As always, I like to say, live your life as a dream. If you can dream and you can make it.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. God bless. Peace and well. Keep the faith, everybody. Stay safe, but it all starts with love.
It does.
God bless everybody. Thank you so much for watching.
Good night.